Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 48 of our Bugeye Build in the Econobox garage. In the previous video, I started dismantling the seats that I have on hand. If you've missed that, I'll put a link just up in the corner for you, so you can go back and check that one out. This week I start on the metal repair on one of the seat pans, and we'll see how far we can get. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoy this week's video. Well, in the previous video, I noted that it looked like I was going to be able to use the first seat pan as is with just some cleaning up, but I think my optimism was a little premature on that. In cleaning this pan up, you can see there's quite a bit of rust through on the back end of the pan here, all the way through here. There's a hole here, and even on this side part here. And also a little bit, this is a little soft in through here. So I think my plan is I'm going to drill out some spot welds as necessary. There's one right there. There's one out over there. There's a couple on the side here. And then I'm going to cut this off right across this line here. Because basically from this point forward, the main part of the pan is in good shape. Before I cut it apart though, I will make a template of this back part of the seat base. That will serve me for the repair on this one and on the seat number 2. Another spot I'm going to have to repair is this front edge. As you can see, there's also some rust through. So my idea on this, these little pieces on the corners here are just spot welded in. So I'll drill out those welds and I'll cut down maybe to the center of this hole, or maybe a little somewhere, maybe only an inch or so down, and replace this. You can see there's the rust through on that flange there and there, and this is pretty soft. That's actually a little semicircle, the shape of one of the clips that are used. I am a little disappointed in this one, but it is what it is, and I'm actually looking forward to doing a little bit more metal work. Well, there's the seat base from the first seat, and I've started making a paper template to start work on a patch panel. So this line here lines up with the join here on each side, and I'm going to make sure that I leave enough of a lip around here, because it goes up to about an inch or 25 mil right at the edge here, then tapers down to half that and all the way around to here, and then it starts to taper up again to the 1 inch or 25 mil on the other side. Marking these circles wasn't a problem, but I found the easiest way to mark these little squares was just to shoot them with a little bit of paint, so that way I know exactly where they are. So next step is to cut this out, transfer it to the sheet metal, and then I'm going to make a jig that will allow me to bend this lip all the way around and get it in the right spot and about the right height. So here we have the shapes roughly marked out. I need 2 of them, one for each seat base. So I'll get those cut out, and then I'll make my little jig. So next step is I'm going to take my paper template and trim it down so it's to the line here, which is the actual edge of the seat pan. And then I'll transfer that to a couple of pieces of plywood. And then from those, I will make my jig to bend this up. Okay, so here I have my metal blank sandwiched between the 2 pieces of plywood. And what I'm going to do is start to hammer this edge over all the way around. The plan is there, of course, that will give me the lip I need for the back of the seat pan, and then I can trim it as needed after I get it all welded together. So after a few minutes of hammering and that, I have a very rough shape done up for the back of the seat pan. And just have to go around with the hammer and dolly, and perhaps even do some shrinking around the edge there. I may just do a couple of cuts up on this sharper corners. Well, rather than try and cut a slot and what have you, what I did on this is my first attempt at shrinking. I'm very happy with the results. I still have some work to do on this edge here, but I think I'll wait until I've actually cut it down about twice as high as I need to be at the moment. So once I've got that figured out and cut down, I'll go and do a bit more. But really, considering the folds that were in there, as you can see a little earlier in this video, but overall, I'm quite happy with the results. What I've decided to do to create the rib in the patch panel for the seat pan is to make a very primitive set of dies. What I've done is I've got the approximate shape into the wood here. I just used a Christmas tree bit or a step drill to make this shape here. The edges on the wood have rounded over, and that made it a little difficult to get the proper profile here. Now I've played with this one a little bit, is I've actually made a plate, a little heavier metal, and then so that'll go over top of the wood part. And then I have also taken a bolt of the correct diameter and just ground down the edge of it, or the end of it, to get the approximate shape of that rib in there. Now I'm not worried about how far back it comes or that. I just want to make sure that this shape here matches this shape here. And so far, so good. So let's see what happens when I do this next one. If it doesn't work, I have enough metal on hand to be able to do another one. So you can see here I've clamped my patch where I've marked the rib location on it, and if you look in here you can see there's the piece of heavier metal with the V cut out of it that'll hopefully give me a sharper edge. And I'll take that cut off bolt and then just hammer this down and then see where we end up. There you can see I've got that rib now in there. Now let's take it over to the original and see how close we've matched up. Well, that's turned out pretty good. With a little bit of fettling with both of those, I'll be able to make those match up. I'm not overly concerned with matching the length or shape once it gets past this cut line. I just want to match it up where it hits this. This is going to be totally unseen in the car. I continue to work on that. I will get my template out and mark on where these holes are going to go. I'm going to get this patch panel as close to finished as I can before I cut the back of the original seat pan off. So here I have the holes marked out to go in the new piece, and I've got them center punched that you can see here. Now these holes are on the original are 1 1/8, but the biggest drill bit I've got is 7/8, so I'm just going to go drill that out to that. I'll drill these out with the step drill as well, and then just file out to square. Now on the original, it's got these little spikes, but those aren't used at all, so I'm not going to bother replicating those on these holes at all. Just going over for the general appearance of it. And again, this is going to be underneath the seat cushion, underneath some foam. It's not going to be seen. Just want to get it close and presentable. Now that I have them center located and center punched, next step is go to drill them out. Well, there we have the patch panel pretty much ready to go in. Next up, I'll have to start drilling out some spot welds along this spot here and along here. Same on this side, and I'll be repairing this section of the seat pan as well. It's a little rusted through there. So this is my cut line across here, and so that patch will go on right there. So I took the flappy disc to the underside here so I can locate the spot welds. There's one here that'll need to be drilled out. I'll leave that one, so there's not too much in there holding that together. Along this edge here you can see there's a couple of spot welds, one there and one there. And on the other side, but there are a couple there. And correspondingly, there's one here, one here. So I'm replacing a little bit more metal on this side, so I'll be drilling out that weld. Those ones, I might just cut this out because I'm replacing it anyway. And I'll have to clean this up a bit more. Looks like there's a spot weld there. And I'm not too sure how much further along I have to go to the next one. Oh, there's one there, so that looks like about it actually. Anyway, so we'll get to drilling those out so we can take this apart and weld in the new piece. Well, there we have the spot welds drilled out on this side, and you can see those are loose there. And I only did the one on this here. I didn't go to the second one because I'm not replacing this metal here. And then on the other side, I did come up a bit further because I am going to replace the metal from about here down on this section here. So those two spot welds are drilled out, as are the two on this lip here. So you can see that's all. You can see that's all free to move. So next up, I'm going to get the angle grinder out. I'm just going to cut straight across on that line. So that's the next stage. Cut this back piece off and see where we're at. Well, here we go. I've got the patch panel clamped to the original piece, and things are lining up quite well. I have to do a little bit of fettling with this rib here, but otherwise it's pretty good. So very happy with how that's turned out. Here's the piece I cut out, and then there's the new piece. Now before I weld this in, I'm going to have to do some work on this piece right here. You can see there's some rust through on this point here. So I'm going to have to replace some of this metal in here. I think I'm going to go back just the other side of this hole there, and also flip it over, and I'll probably replace the outer piece here as well. The other side is in really good shape, relatively speaking, and so I've just got to do some work on fettling this corner into position here. But or the next order of business is to get this piece here sorted out. I have the piece marked that I'm going to be cutting out. So there's a spot weld right here and another one there that I've drilled out. And I've also just made a little cardboard template of that section. So I can now cut this piece out, and then I can start work on the piece underneath. So there's my first little template, and there's the second little template. Once I've got this in place here, I'll just weld on a lead lip here, much after the Fitzy's Fabrications model. I may do that before I weld it in. We'll see. So anyway, the flange will get welded on here. There's a curve in this. I might try to bend that up, but I think it'd be easier just to weld that. So that's where we are for now. Next up, we'll get I'll get this chunk cut out of the seat pan, and then I'll get my two templates cut out of steel and start welding things back together. So here are the two little pieces that I've made, little patches. So this is the first one to replace this piece, and it goes in here like that, and I'll weld this will go on like that to give me the lip, and then this is the piece that goes like so, and replaces that chunk there. So put them all together, these two go in something like that. And once those are on, I'll just double check the other side, and then I can weld all that together along with the panel I made for the back end of the seat tray. And once I've got this welded on to the pan itself, I can work on these edges and get them shrunk down so they're nice and even, particularly around these sharp corners. Well, that's all we have time for in the garage this week. If you enjoyed the video, please share it with your friends. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget the little bell icon. Click on that and you'll get notified when the next videos come out. And keep those questions and suggestions coming in the comments section. I really appreciate that. If you'd like to contact me directly, the easiest way to do so would be through Instagram Direct, and I'll put my tag up in the corner here for you. And there's also a link to my Instagram page in the description of each video. My name is Ian. This is the Econobox Garage. We'll see you next time.